Welcome back, World of Warcraft fans, to another episode of Casual Encounters. This is episode 17.1 of my World of Warcraft show, and my name is Tim, and I try to bring you some interesting news, my comments about where I think things are going in World of Warcraft, where I'd like it to go, where I hope it doesn't go, stuff like that. So I guess not I for my whatever three viewers who you know look forward to my weekly at least one. Usually I try to get at least one done per week. Last week you might have not realized, might have noticed I didn't do a show. I was feeling a little under the weather, um, and there just really wasn't a whole lot of news to talk about. Not a whole lot has changed, really. There's a ton of stuff. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're working on the alpha for Warlords of Draenor. If you go to MMO Champion, I mean, you're gonna see all kinds of great stuff. You're gonna see like all the data mine stuff right off of the alpha. You're gonna see all kinds of new texture stuff they put in. You're gonna see all kinds of cool new tier sets they put in, some very very nice stuff. All there's all kinds of I mean, and the ability stuff, new texts, new everything you could possibly imagine. All the new stuff they just data mine, and they're just throwing anything in there. And if you scroll through the stuff, there is a ton. There's no way I can go through it all. I mean, I went through it. Nothing of particular interest. It's really, really hard when it's out of context. In a way, you can see all these new abilities or different abilities, or the way the abilities change more. I guess that's the way it is. So until we can actually get in there and feel how it plays, it's really, really difficult to comment. I mean, I look at the forums, I look at, questions and stuff like that. Then, people are always like, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that, that's going to hurt me this way, that way. But you don't know. I mean, they haven't even done the balancing yet. They're just, right now, they're sort of in a phase where they're just trying to get everything working. They're trying to get the rotations the way they want them. They're trying to get the abilities to work the way they want them to. They're trying to get all the graphics in there, trying to get all, just the big work. There's so much. There's so much, and it is interesting. Don't get me wrong. It's just a whole bunch of data mine stuff that you can go through. I mean, for your own particular class, it could be very interesting to go through and look at the, some of the things that they're talking about. But honestly, I'm looking through everything the last couple of weeks, and nothing really stands out. It's just a whole bunch of changes. Like again, it's something I'm gonna say that when I talk about, like, I would be freaking out, right? If I know that I'm looking at it in context, because I haven't played it and I don't know how it's gonna work when I'm there. Like, for example, I have a Resto Druid. That's pretty much my main tune. And, like, I was looking at some of the stuff, and the mana costs for a lot of stuff is like, well, at least according to what I saw, has gone up exponentially. Like, it's like 5 times the amount of mana for so much stuff. But I don't know how it's going to work. I mean, they're talking about, more base mana regen and all that stuff. And they did talk about mana being a little more interesting throughout the thing. It's supposed to be better at the beginning, and then not as, ridiculous at the end, where you don't even need spirit. You're trying to get rid of spirit because you have so much mana you don't know what to do with. They're trying to baseline that out. So I assume that, even though I'm looking at these ability things, right, and that my wild growth is going to cost 5 times more than it used to, and there's other things as well, the same thing, Again, I don't have the context of it. And I think when you're going through these things and you're looking at all these different abilities, how they're going to work, how much damage they're going to put out, or how much healing is going to put out, how much mana, rage, energy it's going to use, all that stuff. You just don't know the context. It's going to be, stat squishes and all that crazy stuff. Double the relative health we have now compared to, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much stuff that you just, when I say relative health, I mean after the squish. So let's say they squish everything, so everything is this big, right? So then they're going to squish it all to this big, and then they're going to say, okay, now your health is, double that. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Until you actually get to play it and feel it, I mean, that's all stuff that's going to be balanced out, I guess, once they get the beta out, and many people have tried it, and they're seeing, like, I guess all the different classes, maybe just being OP and all that stuff. They'll take care of it all then. So until you actually get to play it, it's so hard. So, go to MMO Champion, go look at all the different abilities. I mean, there's a lot more than just abilities too. It's all kinds of stuff. I mean, all about different, texts and, alchemy stuff and, and enchantment stuff, but they don't mean it's so hard. You can't, without actually playing and seeing it, it's so hard to comment on it. So yeah, go take a look. There's a lot of information. Again, lots of cool new graphics and textures. They're going to show you the different mounts that are going to be coming out. Some really cool ones. So yeah, go look at it. That's all I can really say about that in particular. Because honestly, like, when it comes to like interesting, game mechanics or whatever, the things I want to know about really, or that I can actually comment on, are things. Okay, so let's talk about, like, when I say, things that I hope for, and I'm sure I've talked about this before, but things like, other ways, like multiple ways to gear up, so that you're not doing the same thing, right? So, right, like for net, like at this point, once you get your, right now in this Appendaria, if you got a new tune level 90, you're going to go to the Timeless Isle. You're going to get your 496 gear. You're going to get some burdens, get some 535s. Then you got to do LFR, and then you got to do flex and normal. And if you're a heroic raider, heroics, and you're basically just running through the same thing over and over again. I really want to see, I really really hope that, now, things like 5-mans, garrisons, stuff like that, and hopefully there's more, hopefully some really cool ways, maybe some rep, but not like rep that we had in Mists. That would be awful. With all those dailies and the Valor attached to it and all that stuff. That was awful. That was absolutely terrible. Not to say they can't have something like that. No, I don't think they should have Rep and Valor at the same time. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. That's just crazy. Have Rep grinds if you want. Have Valor stuff, which I don't think they're going to have, because from what I've heard, Valor is... They're not doing much. I don't know. They're not doing a whole lot with Valor. But they're going to have some, more interesting ways to get gear, other than hopefully just raiding. And that kind of brings me to what just happened earlier this week when 5.4.8 came out. Casuals got some love. They threw in another 2 upgrades to all of your gear. So basically, where before you could get 8 item levels higher for each by upgrading twice, now you can upgrade 2 more times and get another 8 item levels on all your stuff. So that's super good. That at this point in the game, when all the casual people like myself, would like to get that little extra boost to clear more content, that's really what's needed. because if you're like me, um, you're not a big fan of going in bosses and slamming your head against them a million times. You want to learn the fight, you want to learn the mechanics, and you want to beat the boss. I don't mind wiping 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 times, whatever. But when you hear about these, and listen, there's the heroic raiders, the really hardcore guys who go in and wipe on things 100 times. Look, that's their fun. That's awesome. And this game is meant to go through a whole range of different types of players, and that's the thing. That's the important thing, that you have to realize that there's all different levels of players playing this. And you can't just cater to, obviously you can't just cater to the group that wants to go in and slam their head against raid bosses, do them 100 times until they get it right. And you don't want to cater to the person who doesn't want to do anything at all, and just ram through everything like it's nothing, right? So you got to have all these different levels, which is great. But for me, like a really, really nice way to do things is to have several different ways to get gear that will help you progress through a raid. So as long as time goes on, even if it's gated through weeks, whatever, so that way, like, the really hardcore people maybe, don't have to go and do all this crazy stuff to get gear. They don't feel like there's some mandatory stuff that they have to do to get it. Because by the time that, they get to that point, then maybe that gear won't really be much use to them anyway, which is perfect. But for people like me who really want to go in there with some nice gear, because I'm more of I like the content. I like beating content, but like I said, I don't want to smash my head against bosses a million times before I beat it. So I want to be able to have fun, after level up. That's cool. Do some, heroic dungeons. And I'm a little sad that heroic dungeons are apparently not going to have higher gear than the LFR, especially since you have to go through a proving ground to get into randoms and all that stuff. But I guess they feel it'll probably kill LFR if they don't do it that way. I'm not sure if I really agree, because if you're sort of putting this thing that says, okay, I'm going to go do heroics, and I got to prove myself to get in there. You don't have to prove yourself to get into LFR. And the heroic dungeons I think, are going to be tougher. And for me, they should give you better gear. But hey, whatever. It's just the game, right? So I still kind of feel that I'm gonna feel like I still feel like I might feel obliged to do LFR. Now I don't know what the difference in the gear. It could be very, very minimal between heroic and LFR. And if it's really, really minimal, okay, you probably won't feel like you have to do it. If you can do your heroics, heroic dungeons, and get all the gear you need from that, and then work into normals, that's cool. And then if you want to try to get those little tiny extra levels from LFR, or maybe try to fill in a couple of missing pieces, I guess that's okay. But I would have just preferred that it's two separate things. But anyway, what can you do? What can you do, right? I mean, you can't have everything my way. You should. No, just kidding. But it would be nice. What else? What was the point I wanted to make? Oh yeah. So another thing that a general thing that I've seen over the past couple of weeks is talking about gear. Now, I think I mentioned before, maybe in my last episode, I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not, but LFR will no longer have tier set. Oh yeah, I did talk about this. I do remember. They're not going to have the tier sets in them, and stuff. But that aside, I like what they're doing with the looks of the gear. Right now, we kind of have this thing where, every set is sort of the same, except for like maybe a little bit of color difference throughout each tier. So, or I should say, throughout each, Raid Finder, Flex, Normal, Heroic, the sets all the gear is exactly the same to look at. They might just have a little color difference. So what they're doing now is they're going to say, okay, here is your LFR gear, here's your normal gear, your heroic gear, and your mythic gear, so that when you see someone, you can see that they have that mythic gear or that heroic gear or that normal gear. You can kind of tell what level they're in, provided they haven't transmogged into something that's, like I do, that's like all, greens, or, whatever, mostly, or whatever, all lower level stuff that I just like the look of, because I just, just like think it looks cool. But yeah, I mean, for those people who want to show off, it's going to be a little bit easier, and I think I like that. I think I kind of like that idea. If I understand correctly, they're like going to work off each other, and if I'm wrong, that's too bad, because I think this is kind of really cool. So let's say you have this, you go into normal, and you have like these shoulders. So you have like these pretty basic shoulders, maybe with a cool little thing on it, whatever. And then you go and do heroic, and then like they'll add like a spike or a little light thing, or I don't know what. And then you go into mythic, and it's like that same thing, but they add something else to it. So that it's like a growth in I think that's what they're trying to do. I'm not 100% sure, but that would be really cool. I think just taking the old and then just adding something to it to make it say, hey, yeah, this is a more powerful thing. And it would still, that way, you could probably still match. Whereas right now, sometimes the things might not match because of the color differences. Whereas with this, they could all match, but you'll see a significant difference in the way the way it actually looks. So if that's how it works, I think that'll be really, really cool. I like that idea. I hope they do it. That would be really, really, really nice. So. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, again, like I said, there's so much stuff on MMO Champion. It's just like I said, it's mostly just all those little things that they're adding into the alpha right now. Lots of interesting things, just nothing specific that it might be interesting to you individually. As you go through and look at your class and maybe one of your favorite abilities or whatever, and you can see the changes they're making to your class and to your spec. It's just there's so much of it that it's just not really something I can comment on. I said, and it's all out of context too. It's hard to comment on how these things are going to work because you're not playing it. You can't feel it. So yeah. So again, good stuff with the love for the casual players this week and their extra upgrades. I like it. Again, like I said, it's for me. I like clearing the content, normal content. Maybe next pack, maybe next expansion. I'll maybe heroic or whatever. If not, I don't really mind. Like I said, I like to learn the mechanics of something. So, like, if normal and heroic are pretty much the same, just harder, just more oomph to it, it might not be all that interesting to go to heroic. I think just doing the normal dungeons for me might be enough. I don't know. I'll see how it goes. And it's going to depend on achievements and stuff like that, because I like to get our guild achievements. We don't have them yet. Like I said, I've been working on a pally to get up to my mage and my druid, just so that I can always go between different characters and try to, just being able to do anything for my guild, whatever needs be. It's just easier to find groups and stuff. If I need to pug, I can bring in anything and pretty much replace whatever we don't have. So once I get that, I mean, I'm almost there. I think I gotta get my rune stones now for my legendary. I just got an LFR weapon finally. Jeez, I've been everything for, I've been going into flex trying to get weapons. Crazy, man. It just wouldn't drop. I've been using this 483 weapon for I don't know how long. Or yeah, I think it was 483. The shot touched one. Finally got at least a 528. I mean, jeez, it's ridiculous. It just didn't want to drop. Just bad luck. Just bad luck. What can I tell you? So at least I got that 528 now. So I think once I finish my legendary, you know, that's another thing. Another thing I was kind of sad about. They did not put in that Black Prince buff, which I was really, really hoping for. I think at this point in the game, they should really put something in there where to make that legendary quest go a little better. Like, having that extra chance of drops for your sigils and your secrets and your runestones. I really think it's about time that they do that. They should probably again maybe drop the Valor, the test of Valor. I mean, I know they started at 6 and they brought it down to 3,000. Maybe drop it again. Maybe drop it at 2 or 1. I mean, that's like just a gate that you just cannot do anything about. At this point, you should be able to just, you should be able to play it through. I mean, there's no reason to gate that stuff right like at this point, because you need that legendary. I mean, if you want to be a viable player, you kind of need it. It's again, need isn't, it's mandatory, that whole whatever. But I mean, it's obviously it's a big deal to get it, and I just think at this point there's no need to gate it anymore. You should be kind of free to just do what you got to do to get it. Even if you want to just go 24 hours a day, just trying to get everything you need to, I don't know, maybe gate it just a tiny bit, maybe, but max it out to like, a month or something, saying, okay, if you do everything you need to do in 1 month, you'll have it, and that's it. But as it is now, it's still, I mean, you should have your minimum 3 weeks from your test of Valor, and then all the sigils, all the freaking secrets, all the freaking rune stones. I mean, it's still 6-8 weeks minimum, so yeah, I think at this point they need to fix that. And I was really disappointed that they didn't put that in. I mean, the Black Prince rep, at this point, it's a joke. It's a joke. You just go to the Isle of Thunder and just kill those freaking statues, and you get so much. So that goes pretty quick, especially if you go in with another person. And it's just really, really easy. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is the kind of stuff that they need to do at this point, is just, let people catch up a little as time goes on, catch up a little more. This upgrade thing that they're doing, it's sort of instead of giving a debuff in the dungeon, like in, I don't know if you remember Lich King, they put a 5% decrease on all health and all that crap, then gave you extra damage. I don't remember what it was. It was one or the other. I think maybe Dragon Soul, they gave you more damage, and then in Ice Crown, I think they nerfed the dungeon. So, a little bit. So this is kind of their way of doing that, but at least making you work for it. So you still got to go get some Valor, you got to upgrade your items, and you'll get a little bit more powerful every week. I think it's great. I think it's really good. They need to do that kind of stuff at this point in the game to help all those casual players who don't want to bang their heads against bosses. Just want to go in, learn the mechanics, wipe a few times, kill the boss, and that's it. Maybe clear a wing a week or something. I don't know, something like that. I'm just to make it easier at this point. And as we go forward, I really, really hope that there's a lot of different ways to acquire gear that isn't just raiding for gear. I want to be able to get gear before I go in there, and like I said, learn the mechanics, kill the boss, kill the bosses and keep going without smashing my head on them too much. I know it sounds lazy, but that's what casual players are, man. We're just lazy. What can I tell you? So it's just not fun wiping 100 times. I don't know, man. Just, is it me? Is it me? Is it fun wiping 100 times on a boss? I don't think so. No. So yeah, that's about it. Go check out MMO Champion if you want to see all that stuff. I mean, there's a lot. There are pages and pages and pages of stuff to go through. Like I said, it's not really worth commenting on everything. It's just a lot of different changes, and a lot of it, again, out of context because you don't know what you're looking at half the time. So that's about it for this week. If you'd like to contact me, you can email me at wowonmymind@gmail.com. You can visit me on Nazgrel, Vecnalash, or Nessingwary. Those are all that's my connected realms. And on the YouTube page, in the little about area there, you'll see my 3 characters. Paltama, which is my new paladin, my druid power shift, and my mage Idamit, which is Timothy spelled backwards. You can come up there, hit me up for a friend's request or something. I don't know, whatever you want to do. Please leave some comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think if you saw something really, really, really cool on MMO Champion that you liked or didn't like, or what you think about my ideas about gearing for raiding. If you think that you have to have like this low stuff to go in, if you think it's important that you are low geared and only gain that gear in the raid. Do you think that it's a good idea to get your sources from get your gear from outside? Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. Like this video if you like it, and most importantly, have fun playing World of Warcraft, guys. Have a good night.